Ladies and gentlemen, a terrible logo.
The age where every logo had to be 3D.
It was what the cool kids did. I'm just taking a shower. Ooh, French.
En français.
Was this game French?
No, but it does take place in France.
Oh, thematic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the opening of Moulin Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
Only not.
Yeah, so here we are in Paris. We are in the modern day, which at the time of this game's release was 1993.
Wow.
The good old early 90s. So judging by all the fanfare, this is the opening night to a brand new show. Mm-hmm.
By Eric.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my god.
Yes, the infamous Don Juan Triumphant.
Was that what he, made?
Yes, the Don Juan Triumphant was an actual...
Wait, so if it's 1993, how is Christine still alive?
But this is not, they are not the same Christine.
What? So...
Did
they just, look for someone named... What happened to that rat?
We are in the intro, you cannot be this confused. All will be answered.
No, I'm confused. I hope that rat can breathe in the water.
Did you even see the shadow on the wall?
I was too worried about the rat. Oh look, that woman's dress is the same color as the floor.
Yeah. 256 colors.
Oh, look at my sweet chandelier, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna walk around ominously behind it. It's like there's only one opera house in the world. Supposedly written.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was some false advertising. Anytime now.
Hey, shut up. It's building.
No one considers the possibility that What? Yeah, because he's, dead.
But we saw that skulking shadow, so...
It's probably just it's probably the rat dressed up. Well...
Yeah, so he's, super dead at this point.
Is it just gonna be oh my god, that chandelier!
It's slowly
creeping down. Wouldn't somebody at the top, say something?
No, maybe, but they said it in French, so no one understood.
No, this is the part of France where we speak English, sir. That's its, warning noise.
Yeah, the warning alarm.
Like a dog growling.
Like cardboard cow in the corner.
That's pretty great. Is that the scream from Clock Tower?
Might be. It all comes together.
I'm not gonna move or anything.
Welcome to our special Halloween LP. It's Return of the Phantom, released in 1993 by Microprose. And we are checking this one out, largely due in part to the fact that I was previously a diehard Phantom fan.
And I was not.
Mm-hmm. So this is going to be Genghis Kate's first real introduction to any of the Phantom of the Opera story.
I know a little bit about the Phantom of the Opera, mostly because it's so prevalent in our culture.
Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting story, and so I'm looking forward to going through this with you and annoying you incessantly with all my notes about what they did different.
Don't expect to hear from me much. All right, let's roll.
All right.
Okay, so what's the difference between novice and challenging?
Not a lot, honestly. It's
Monsieur Montand.
a
There you
little
are.
superfluous.
Step down here, please. I wish to speak with you.
Yeah, there just really is no point, so I'd recommend you might as well just choose challenging. It's actually, in the case of one puzzle, you have to do less than you would have to do if you chose novice, and I'll point out at what point that happens.
Sometimes the greatest challenge is doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, those seats have been crushed the fuck up.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a tiny chandelier given how big the arena is.
It explains why they only killed one lady.
Yeah.
That's not canon, by the way, just so you know.
Well, actually, there was a chandelier crash in the original novel, and that was inspired by real life. On May 20th, 1896, one of the chandelier's counterweights broke and burst through the ceiling and killed a single audience member, much like it did in the introduction. And this is an event that Gaston Leroux, the writer of the Phantom of the Opera novel, he kind of sprinkled that in to kind of give more credibility to the events of the novel.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Tell me everything you know about this.
So are we that mustachioed? Oh, wait, they're both mustachioed.
We are the not bearded man. We are Detective Raoul Montand with the French police. We just happened to be at the opera when the chandelier crashed, and so we've kind of just been roped into trying to investigate.
Oh, that's convenient.
And this guy here is Monsieur Brie. He is the acting manager of the opera, and as he says here, he believes that this is possibly a copycat crime referencing the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh. I will say, for 1993, these guys all look very old-timey.
Yeah, it's a little... You sort of forget that you're in the early 90s at this point. It's probably all the formal wear.
Which makes sense. I mean, they're at the opera, but even like his, not this guy's mustache, but the other guy's mustache, looks pretty dated.
So here we kind of get a little brief reprise of the Phantom of the Opera story.
What's the story?
Well, the basic nut of it is, and I imagine this is the story that you're most familiar with, as this is what it gets boiled down to essentially, is that the Phantom of the Opera was in love with a singer named Christine Daae, who herself was in love with Raoul de Chagny. And of course, it's essentially this love triangle between Raoul and the Phantom, and the Vicomte de Chagny wins out over the Phantom.
That didn't happen in the Alvin and the Chipmunks version.
Oh, well.
We have kept them on display in the opera library.
I'm not joking on that. There was an Alvin and the Chipmunks version, I'm quite sure. Unless my memories... but man, those Chipmunks did everything.
How were these artifacts found?
So the artifacts that are being mentioned here are a copy of Don Juan Triumphant, a gold ring, and the mask of the Phantom of the Opera.
Ooh, spooky.
So these, as he explains here, they were all found with a skeleton discovered within the catacombs of the opera, which that's sort of true to the original novel. We'll kind of learn more about what exactly transpired 100 years ago later in the game.
Oh.
You should be able to find him in the stage.
Right now, Monsieur Brie is telling us to seek out the stage manager, Charles. And
into the trap room.
The trap room? Oh, like
Yeah.
the trap door. Okay. I thought
Yeah.
maybe it was just like, if you're a bad guest, you go to the trap room.
there's a pit that you have to swing across.
I would like you to explore the
Pit's
theater.
filled with alligators.
Yeah.
Find out where this
Good
man
lord,
is hiding.
man.
Good
So,
lord, man. There were
Monsieur
people murdered
Brie,
there.
his advice here rings very true. We need to talk to basically everyone about everything, because this game relies on event flags, and if you find that you cannot progress, chances are it is because you skipped a bit of dialogue.
Report on your progress.
Those point-and-click games, gotta love them. I do love the implication here that we just forgot how to detective.
Until later.
Oh, I should talk to people and look for clues? Oh my god, I never thought of that.
Yeah. I find it sort of interesting that Monsieur Brie does not think that there's any possibility that this could be a accident. He jumps immediately to the conclusion that this is clearly
A murder.
yeah.
A murder most
Murderous
foul.
act.
And then it turns out the chandelier was just faulty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. That's, you're basically a building inspector from this point on.
So we are going to go try and make our way to Charles here.
Through this maze of music stands.
Yes, believe it or not, we're coming across what might be considered our first puzzle
What?
of the game.
Was the puzzle opening the door?
Well, it's opening a door.
Oh my god.
So,
I always love those kind of puzzles because it's like, how do people go about their business in these environments?
well, as we're gonna see here, the door is locked, so we need to kind of find an alternative way up.
So I'm assuming this alternative way is to go back to the manager of the opera and be like, can I have access to the rest of your stuff?
Surprisingly, no.
Oh, wow.
So we're gonna...
What is wrong with those stairs?
They're for the prompter. So the prompter is a dude who just kind of sits on that little swing
Oh,
there. And
I'm
and he-
sorry. I totally just missed up the angle.
so we're just gonna take a little peeksy poo out here.
Peaksy poo? The fuck's it? Whoa, spooky as hell!
Just gonna...
Look, it's the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
yeah. Just gonna take a look.
Oh, look how dramatic and cool I am.
Yeah, look
The
at
opera
my
manager
camera.
is just, Monsieur Brie is just standing there being like, what the fuck is this guy
Skulking
doing?
about.
Or is that Monsieur Brie and he just got changed real quick?
We'll have to see.
Oh man, I hope I unraveled.
Yeah, so that is, as you might expect, that is the Phantom of the Opera. Apparently, I don't know, he's kind of lost his touch over the 100 years, and he's not as great as hiding
Well,
as...
he died. Cut the man some slack.
That's true.
The fact that he's even moving around, like you're just gonna rip his cape off and he's just gonna crumble
Yeah.
in a pile of dead ashes.
Alright.
Oh, do we move the stairs?
Yes, so this is our first puzzle. We pulled
Oh.
a lever to open the trap door, and now we're just gonna wheel this little staircase over here.
Squeaky, squeaky.
And this is how we're gonna access the rest of the opera.
Oh, that is really inconvenient.
It really is.
Mm-hmm. Like, does everyone do this?
No, presumably everyone has a key, but we just have to jump through hoops.
Wow. I would arrest Monsieur Brie for failing to cooperate with the authorities.
Alright. So we're gonna go chat with Charles here, who's
Also, I'm pretty sure that even if a police officer is attending your opera, that you can't just be like, you investigate it. I feel like there's like...
some sort of process involved. Alright, so here's Charles.
The stage, man. Oh,
Yes,
look at
what
that
is it?
sweet-ass scarf.
Yeah.
Are you Charles?
Nope.
Yes, I.
Oh, he's sad.
Well, he's actually, I think it's like he's got a cold, and it's
Please,
sort of
tell me about
odd
your job
because
here at the theater.
he doesn't ever talk about it.
I am the
Oh.
stage
It's just kind of
I
a
do not
little
know what that is,
thing they
I
do
shall
to give
tell
him a
you.
bit more character,
Quite
I
literally,
think.
the stage
But it's
manager
not
runs the
character
show
if it's
once
just,
rehearsals
like-
It's just a little
ended
kind
and
of
the show
trait of
over.
his.
He
The
sniffs.
show belongs to the director
stupid.
only until opening night,
That's a dumb
at
trait.
which time
I'm
I
sorry for anyone
decide.
who only has that going for them, but you should
Please,
get
continue
more
describing
going
your
for
job.
you.
From my command station here, I stay in
Command station.
constant
You're not
communication
Captain
with
Picard.
everyone in the theater.
So
I make
Charles
sure
here
the show
mentions
runs
that
smoothly and
he
without
handles
hitches.
certain
I
personnel
follow
problems when they
scripted
arise.
call all
This is
1,000
likely a
lights.
reference to Carlotta,
Although
who
it's not
was
my
the
official
the
job
current prima donna in the
I
original
handle
novel.
certain
She was the main
personnel
obstacle in the
problems
way
when
of
they
Christine
arise.
Daae's career, and
sort of
she
personnel
was
problems?
handled by the Phantom, who
I make sure everyone is
conspired
here
to
on
make her
time
croak
for
like a
one
toad
thing.
during a
I
performance,
take care of
shaming
personality
her
clashes
and
between
making her kind
stars.
of run away from
I
the
make
opera for a
sure
little bit so that
everyone is
Christine could
happy.
perform in her stead.
And how did he do that?
Please tell me a little
Well,
about the opera house.
We'll kind of learn more about the Phantom and
The
his
opera
talents
house
a
was
little
designed
later.
by Charles
Is he a
Garnier
witch?
and
He
first
is
commissioned
not
during the
supernatural
reign
in
of
the
Emperor
least.
Napoleon
Oh,
III.
he's just a...
So watch for that in this game. If you see any supernatural elements, they
probably have an alternate explanation.
well, they should.
Oh.
This game does kind of follow the idea that the Phantom is sort of just literally magic.
Oh, that's unfortunate. It's much scarier when you're dealing with a deranged human than just magic man.
Napoleon III was
So,
exiled, and
Charles here is just gonna kind of waffle on about the history of the opera.
the opera was taken over
The
by
opera.
bodyguards, arsenal,
The main nut of it is basically that at one point during its history, the opera was used as a prison.
Many prisoners
Is this
were
actually,
incarcerated
relevant to the
and
game?
tortured deep in the catacombs
Not
below the
particularly.
opera.
It's mostly
1872,
just
the
sort of...
communards were
text.
defeated.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's interesting information, and it sort of does,
The opera house was
I guess,
completed
color
and
your
staged its first
expectations.
performance.
But unfortunately, the game doesn't really
Very
use it.
interesting.
Although,
How big
I guess to its credit, the original novel sort of doesn't either.
covers
It's
nearly
mostly there
3
as
acres,
backstory and
it
to
is
sort of give just
17
this
stories
undercurrent.
high, 7 of which are below street level.
Well, that makes
The
sense.
stage itself is 175 feet wide and 85 feet deep. Electric lighting replaced the auditorium gasoliers in 1881. It is a magnificent
Oh, yeah,
building.
right.
Yeah. So, I mean, essentially, they're
more
just
about the
talking about how they
catacombs.
modernized it.
The water level on the site was bad. There is a lake deep beneath the stage area.
And this is
It's
true,
now
too,
basically
that
a
the
sewer.
actual opera house does
Ever
have a
since
lake
the
underneath
conquest,
it.
it
Really?
was
Yes.
an
Oh, I
area
thought that was
used
just
as a
put in... Oh, that's interesting.
No, basically while they were building it, they just kind of misjudged how much water was going to be displaced. So it just sort of essentially flooded and they just kind of left it there.
How do I get down there?
Oh.
And that does factor into the original story of the Phantom of the Opera.
That one I know, because, yeah, he, like...
The Phantom has built himself a house in the lake underneath the opera house.
Like Gollum.
By the way, I am Detective Rowan.
Oh, by the way,
Sure it's
I'm with the police.
what
You should probably mention that beforehand.
Yes, I don't know if French police have badges or anything they should show.
You know.
There was no one in the
Pretty much if you
skyloft
say you're
or
the police in
catwalk.
France, they have to
All
believe
the
you.
lights
It's
Yeah.
the
were
law.
controlled from the booth. I cannot imagine how it could have happened.
How was the chandelier attached?
Yeah, so
We
There's
attached
an
it with
alcove in
the
the
silly
ceiling
putty.
to which
Yeah.
the chandelier's electrical
think that was a
wires and
bad idea?
harness are rigged. You must go to
So,
the flyloft and
again,
traverse the
basically,
catwalks
we
above
are
the
just kind of
ceiling to
collecting
get there.
information so that we can go to Monsieur Brie and just kind of tell him all of what we learned. I think it's mostly just the way the
Do you have any
game's trying to make
suspects
sure that you're
regarding tonight's
understanding the
mishap?
plot by first talking to
Well,
everybody,
I
getting all the
don't,
information,
but
and
some
then
of the
having to
ballet
repeat it all
girls
back to Monsieur Brie.
certainly do.
What do you mean? The ballet girls
Oh,
know
ballet
something?
girls always know.
They believe it's the opera ghost, you see. One ballerina in particular
Oh,
is
that-
spreading
that-
rumors.
Troublemaker.
Yeah. So,
Opera ghost.
the opera ghost was how the Phantom
mean
was
the
primarily
Phantom of the
referred
Opera?
to in the original novel.
Yes, isn't it
Ah.
silly?
Because
They're
he
saying
acted
it's
as
the
a
Phantom
ghost.
of
He
ghosts,
was able to
secret
use his
revenge
talents
on those
to
who
make
did
sure that he
wrong
was
100
never seen,
years ago.
ran things in the opera just by
Have you
sort of
seen a man with a
influencing
cape recently?
influencing the different
No, I have
managers
not
there
seen
to get what he
anyone since
wanted.
everyone went home
And
an hour ago.
some of the ballerinas and
is
some of the
this ballerina?
stagehands
Can
would
I
catch
speak with
glimpses of him, and just rumors began to
Her
spread.
name is Julie Geary. I believe she is
Geary.
still here. Probably
I
in
feel
the
like I've heard that
dressing room.
name.
I have not
So,
seen her leave tonight. Some of the
Both
cast
a
stay
Meg
all
Giry
hours at
and
the
a
theater.
Madame Giry show up in the original Phantom
Where is
story.
Mademoiselle Giry's
You'll be
dressing
familiar with these characters if you have seen the
If you
Andrew
go
Lloyd
through
Webber
the stage
version,
right
because
door
they're kind of more
backstage,
predominantly
you will
featured
find a
there.
staircase to the dressing rooms.
So, Julie
else might be
Giry
here?
is a ballerina at the current modern
As soon
day
as I
opera.
finish what
So
I'm
we're
Could she
doing,
be
I'm
a
going
descendant?
she just may
might
be.
find
Oh.
Christine
So we're going to be talking about her and
She is so
Christine
dedicated to
Florent.
her art that
Oh.
she never leaves.
Probably the Phantom was like, oh, there's another person named Christine. I'm just gonna
Right
reanimate
now.
the shit out of myself and,
You're
That
welcome.
might
Now
be.
I
You're
Have I seen through the plot?
a little, maybe.
Uh,
Alright, so thanks, Charles.
You're so helpful.
Yeah.
Sniff, sniff to you too, sir.
Yeah. So that's gonna be the last we see of Charles, because
Oh, what?
as he says, he just wants to go home.
But he was such an engaging character.
Yeah.
With his, and his,
Yeah. Are you ready for some item collection?
Oh, wow. That was aggressive.
Yeah.
Aggressive item collection.
Somebody doesn't seem to like us poking around.
Oh, is it Charles?
And the rope attached to the sandbag has been cut.
What?
So we're just gonna take this. We never used this item.
Oh.
Yeah.
Flavor text?
There's Return of the Phantom is a weird game in that there are very, very few puzzles. And here's another item we're collecting, a red frame.
Okay.
There are different colors of this. There are, I believe it is red, yellow, and blue if we are playing the challenging mode. If you're playing the novice mode, there's an additional green one.
What?
Oh, we're just gonna shake this. Okay, we're gonna touch the thunder machine here. So
okay.
Listen to the thunder.
Alright. What?
Thunder.
That was
thunder.
shitty. That was underwhelming as shit.
So these red frames are actually more important than they may let on, and yet completely useless.
Oh, I love it.
You don't actually have to collect them at this point.
But you are a tryhard.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Coffee stand. Ew, that's gross.
Yeah.
Are we gonna take it?
No. There's a lot of flavor text in this game, but a lot of these items just aren't necessary.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel as though this game, I feel like it was half done. You know, like they had a greater plan for it, and it just never went anywhere.
Oh.
And like Raoul kind of checks to see for any more sandbags. It's cute the first time, but he does this every time you use the stairs, and it gets a little annoying.
Oh my god. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, who is it? Is it the Hunchback?
That's a little apropos, given that Lon Chaney, who was a famous silent film actor, played both the Hunchback of Notre Dame and the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a genius. Don't laugh.
So we're just kind of walking around the fly lofts here. In the original novel, this area is kind of briefly touched upon in that Raoul and Christine sort of come up here and frolic and make the Phantom jealous.
Aww. All I can think of is that version we watched with Robert Englund, which if you have not seen, dear viewers, please go see it, because it is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen.
There are many different versions of the Phantom of the Opera, and I encourage you to go check them out.
Especially the Robert Englund one.
So, as we can see, there's just this giant hole here. This is where the chandelier stood.
Oh god.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, oh man. I have this weird fear. When I go to concerts sometimes, and I'm like up high in the seats.
Oh, we're just gonna...
My dear Raoul, it is
Oh.
time to settle our differences.
But wait, we're playing a guy named...
We are Detective Raoul Montan.
Oh, ha 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 ha.
So,
Of all music, and soon
it seems as though whoever is pretending to be the opera ghost is confusing us for another Raoul.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so to continue my fear...
Well, I just gotta interrupt you for 1 second here, because if you're playing the novice mode, on this screen you will find the green frame.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why the novice mode has more frames to collect than the challenging mode.
Yeah, that seems kind of backwards. But yeah, I'll sometimes like stare up at the lighting, and I'll think about like having to go up there, and it freaks the hell out of me.
Like somebody would force you up there?
I don't know. It's a weird feeling.
So, we received a note from the Phantom there. It's interesting to note that in the original story, the Phantom is described as having really awkward, rudimentary writing. Based on how it's described, it sort of sounds as though they want to suggest that the Phantom might be somewhat illiterate, which would suit his upbringing in that he did not have a formal education as a child.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much. Mm-hmm. That carpeting looks like the kind you find on airplanes.
I don't think it's supposed to be carpeting.
What is it then?
Maybe just wood or steel?
Maybe. Mm-hmm. I think it looks like airplane carpeting, though, so I'm gonna go with it. That's my headcanon, and you can't change it.
Alright, so we're before we move on here to do a bit more interviewing with some other
dudes.
Mm-hmm. We're just gonna collect the last frame here.
Yeah, let's prepare for puzzles.
Yeah, get ready, because there is not a good payoff for these stupid frames.
Oh.
There really isn't.
Oh, I was really hoping, because it sounds like it could be kind of fun, like mixing colors and...
Well, you would think, but no.
Oh.
Again, I sort of feel as though this game is a little half-formed. There are so many great ideas and scenes that they could have done. They could have just pulled them from the novel itself.
And they didn't.
They didn't, and it's disappointing. And it's almost aggravating to me. It's like, damn it, you had this, like, someone just make a game of the Phantom of the Opera. We don't...
You have a rich lore to work with.
You do! You really do! And I'll be pointing out to you where I think they really missed out on just whole cloth just representing the novel.
I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. So we're kind of making our way to the door of Julie Giry to interview her.
So excited.
Mm-hmm. But we are going to be doing that in the next episode.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So stay tuned.